And welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing, and I haven't done a movie review in a while, I'm going to be reviewing Captain America Brave New World. So we're just going to get straight into it. Starting off, my thoughts before watching this film while entering into the theatre. I was kind of skeptical about this movie because I don't know how Anthony Mackie was going to carry his own big blockbuster movie about Captain America, where Chris Evans was Captain America and always will be. I was just nervous on who this movie will reach. Sorry, bad spelling. I was just nervous on how this movie will reach the level of the trilogy with Chris Evans. The trailers looked okay, but I was deprived that the Red Hulk was going to be the main big bad guy in this movie. They hired the writers of the show of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier to write this movie. And well, yeah, that kind of left me skeptical. They hired the director of Cloverfield Paradox to direct the film. And if you don't know Cloverfield Paradox, it's a fucking shit movie, to be honest. And then they delayed this movie a year to do reshoots to fix the film. The real big thing that triggered me about this movie was how they delayed it a year to fix it. Anytime this happens, it's a massive red flag. Now, let's get into my thoughts of the film. The start of the movie went really well. I didn't feel like it took a while to get where it wanted to go. I liked the start of the film. It felt like we were amping up into where we were heading. It felt like I'm trying not to spoil how this movie goes, but the start of the movie really just goes, okay, we're doing this. Okay, we got that. And for me, worked great. My second thought, I really liked Danny Ramirez's character. He was the comedic relief of this film, and he was just a delight to have on the screen. So Danny Ramirez, he was also I think he was in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He was the military guy. And Danny Ramirez, he's a fantastic actor, and he was so funny in this movie. He was really good, especially in the first act of the film. Very good in the first act, and well, through the whole film as well. He was really good. I loved the story with Isaiah. It was probably the standout of this entire movie and really bumped up my score for this movie. If you don't know Isaiah, he was also on The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He was the older fella that Sam Wilson always went to visit to see, sort out problems and all that, and he always went to him. And in this movie, I'll get more into it later on, but it worked perfect. I just loved how they developed his character. Next one, Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross. The MCU was put into a tricky position with the actor because the original actor died. So they bring in the legendary actor Harrison Ford, and for the nature of the Thunderbolt character arc, there are a lot of advantages of bringing in Harrison Ford, where Harrison Ford is a naturally charismatic actor, than William Hurt, who was the original actor that was supposed to be, Thunderbolt Ross, but, he sadly passed. But they had the Harrison Ford charm to the Thunderbolt's character. When you're trying to have a more sympathetic Thunderbolt Ross that he is in this movie, then he is the most definitive arc in this film that has the most layers, very complicated past, and trying to change. So he had a real complicated past, but he's trying to change, but still working on what he needs to change. It was a nice wee little story that we had with Thunderbolt Ross. I really liked that little arc that we had with him. Next one, I really liked the chemistry of Sam, Isaiah, and Joaquin, who is Danny Ramirez. Anyway, I really liked their chemistry. They felt nice to be in there, and they felt like they had history together. Their banter, they joke with one another. They are mentoring each other. They challenge one another. Once again, kind of anchoring the film in relations, that feel real and lived in. With the Sam, Isaiah, and Joaquin, I loved their chemistry together. They worked perfectly together in this film, for my opinion. I just really liked what they did with all these three characters, and them as the chemistry all together worked perfectly for me. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there was a nice wee little cameo in the movie from someone, and well, I did have a feeling they might show, and they did, and I loved every second of that. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to spoil the film because I don't want to spoil it. But there is a little cameo in there, and once you see him, you'll be like, "Oh, damn!" But it was nice to see him. It was nice to see them in this movie, and my another one. This movie did exceed my expectations. Meaning there was more here than I was expecting. The big thing that I really liked about this film is that it was the most cohesive that the MCU has felt ever since Endgame. Obviously, it's the lead-up from the Captain America movies and the Endgame in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but the actual plot of this movie is more of a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, as well as the major plot point for the Eternals. There is a side character that is a follow-up from Black Widow as well, and it didn't feel like homework. It felt like we were getting in a shared universe where the events of the movies over there matter in the film right here. A lot of the recent projects, they haven't been able to intertwine. Finally, it feels like everything intertwines, and it really reminded me of a different era of the MCU. I keep on talking about the lack of cohesiveness in the MCU movies, but this one, I was impressed they actually did, and I think it worked great in this movie, and it really needed it. Another one, Anthony Mackie. Yes, he is an amazing leading. He's amazing leading this film. They fitted him in there amazingly, like he's trying to carry the mantle, exploring that he is not on the super soldier serum, and he feels like a real person with struggles and anxiety. It just makes him more relatable in this movie. Like, yes, we got great action sequences in there and here, but them little moments that we had with Anthony Mackie, him, as a real person in a real world, trying to be like, damn, how can I carry this mantle from a legend that we had of Steve Rogers, and how can I do this? I don't have the super soldier serum. How can I do this? How can I do that? And the way that they did it in the movie, I really enjoyed. Another one, when I left this theatre, there were some feelings with some of the feelings I had in the earlier phases of the MCU. Just excited about a shared universe. I felt like all these different stories and plot points were pulling together towards something, and I haven't felt like this in the MCU since basically Phase 3. There have been positives, but there wasn't that cohesiveness. So there was a lot in here that reminded me of the good old days and felt like we were moving back towards that, and I was so happy about that. I was like, yes, we're going back into the time where we were the best at, because right now, a little bit lower, like, Black Widow and, like, Eternals and, what are the other big ones, like, Phase 5? I forgot what phase we're in already, but I think we're Phase 4, or 5, anyway, but yeah, Phase 4 and 5, just, some of these movies just haven't had that cohesiveness in there, and it's nice that this movie kind of goes back to the good old days where we really enjoyed the MCU movies. I did say that the movie does have cohesiveness in this movie, but the cohesiveness doesn't really apply to the movie itself and its story and its storytelling, where this is a film where you absolutely can feel the reshoots for probably the first 30 minutes of this movie. I was really on board, and when the plot kicks in, you start getting into a conspiracy and an investigation aspect of it just dramatically dropped in quality. It got more convoluted, and you can feel the reshoots were cutting too many sequences and showing too many images in the middle act where you can feel the reshoots. And there are just a lot of sequences where it feels like that, where you can feel the reshoots. And there are just... Anthony Mackie in front of the green screen talking to Giancarlo Esposito. That is not... The close-ups that they had with this, they weren't in frame together. I just felt like the main plot of a conspiracy and the villain, the leader, were all pretty big misses for me. This is supposed to be the master plan the leader, this was supposed to be his master plan from someone who was a genius, and all it felt was very obvious and predictable where it was headed. There was no really intrigue you can find it very quickly. I don't really think this is a spoiler, but mind control takes a part in this film and in this story, and characters keep on shrugging off mind control despite the fact that the person that they're talking is Sam Wilson, whose best friend is famously known as Bucky, who was mind controlled for 50 years. So they treat mind control as like it's nothing. It's just a joke. Like the main villain had this master plan, and well, it didn't really work because they had to duct tape the script because of the reshoots. Where you're duct taping your script with reshoots, you have to have characters and pause to explain the plot. So there are many different scenes where Thunderbolt Ross keeps on going on about, man, we just need this treaty to go through. I just really need this treaty to go through. Man, if this treaty falls through, he just keeps on saying this over and over and over again. Likewise, main villain's motivations explained to us in 3 different times in a span of 10 minutes. They just keep on explaining the plot to you just because, they're just trying to patch it all together. Rather than having a cohesive story that tells its story through motion pictures, rather than exposition and dialogue, it's the consequences of microwaving a script and trying to fix it in post, and they want to be a more grounded political thriller in the vein of Winter Soldier, and it's simply not that. Winter Soldier was a more smarter movie. That was a more grounded movie and had more captivating politics to it. This movie is very simplistic stuff, with no exploration through the politics and very silly stuff. Of course, we have Red Hulk and we have Falcon battling jets. There was one moment where Captain America or Sam Wilson was on top of a jet. He grabs a shield, holding the shield in front of him. I don't know if you know aerodynamics. If you do that on a jet going hundreds of kilometers per hour, you will fly backwards. I mean, that's not nitpicking. I mean, I'm not trying to nitpick, but like the logistics, the sense of this film, it was like, where was it at? But I mean, it's MCU. Seth frickin' Rollins, I don't know if you know, I'm a big WWE fan. Seth frickin' Rollins being cut in this movie. It's just, I felt sad that he got cut because I was like, oh damn, that's gonna be cool seeing, a WWE superstar getting, his fame. And, it didn't happen because he got cut in the movie, which kind of made me a little bit pissed off. But I mean, there was so many reshoots and, changes to scripts and everything. So, yeah, it just sucks for him. But I mean, it would have been good if he was in there. Like I said, there were logical problems in this movie that kind of annoyed me. But I mean, it's an MCU movie. What do you really expect? I was kind of like, this doesn't really make sense. How are you doing this? There was one moment with Thunderbolt Ross's character where I'm like, mate, what are you doing? You need to fucking, use your head for this. Like, it's not that difficult to do this. I'm not saying what because I don't want to spoil it, but I'm like, it was just annoying. Another one, probably what everyone wants, is Red Hulk. And yes, there is not much of Red Hulk. Like, they were amping it up like he was the main villain in this movie. And, well, it fell short. But, I mean, in the trailers, they were only really showing him in one set. So, I thought it just sucks. Because, like, I would have loved more Red Hulk. Because, I mean, it's Red Hulk. But what the trailers were really showing was like, I don't think we're going to be getting much Red Hulk. Which kind of pissed me off a little bit. Now, what everyone's been wanting about, post-credit scene. There is one scene, it's a true post-credit scene, after the credits, and it is essentially a tease for the future. It mildly follows up a couple of characters in this movie, and teases where things are heading. It's not flashy, it's not a cameo, it's all dialogue with characters that are established. So it's not like a wow-inducing one where it's like, oh, you have to stay here and watch the post-credit scene. But it is them just starting to tease and lay the breadcrumbs for where things are headed, that they're trying to pull us towards these next big event films, and this one heads us in that direction. That's really what the post-credit scene is. I'm not going to spoil it what it was. But, yeah, it's basically just that. Just them trying and leading towards the future on what is going to happen. And it's not like anything big or wow factor. It's not a wow factor. It's not like, oh my god, you have to stay and watch this post-credit scene. It's going to be revolutionizing or whatever. Like, no, it's not. But, yeah. Anyway, for my score for this film, I'm going to be giving it, out of 10, I'm going to be giving it a 3 out of 5. My percentage, I'm going to be giving it a 68%. My grade, I'm going to be giving it is a C+. And out of 10, I'm going to be giving it a 6.8 out of 10. Thank you for watching my review for Captain America Brave New World. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel. That'll be a massive help. Thank you for watching. Take care. Goodbye.